Come explore some hobby finds in IKEA with me, from crafting materials to storage items and hacks. The range at IKEA has something for all hobbies. Let's start with some useful items and hacks. First up, we have these sauce bottles. I use these all the time on my hobby desk. They're great for storing water in when you need it for little things like your wet palette starts to dry out, or to clean your airbrush in between colour changes. Next up is this plate stand. I'd use something like this as a drying station for different items, or you could use it to organise different crafting materials. This little gadget is really useful to keep on your desk. It's a mini bin and it comes with a brush too. It's great for wiping down all the little bits of glue and sprue, and I also use it when I'm applying static grass and other messy materials. These lint rollers are also really useful for picking up little bits of mess on your desk, and it's important to do this to make sure you don't accidentally transfer anything over to your models while they're still wet. Speaking of messy materials, desk pads like this can be a great little table protector. They're easy to wipe clean and will stop you getting paint and glue on your actual desk. And if you're really messy like me, you may also want to put a larger one down to protect the floor too, especially if you're working in a room with carpet. If you like to watch stuff while you work, then this iPad stand is really convenient, or if you want a smaller, cheaper option, they also had these little phone stands too. If you want to have a temporary setup or don't have a dedicated hobby space, trays like this can be great for setting up a little portable workspace. These muffin trays are great for mixing cheap paints for larger terrain projects, and they're easy to clean out too afterwards. There was a good selection of trays. I like to use these to catch liquids. They work great for potential resin spills, and I also have one sitting under my 3D printer at all times just in case. And finally, in this section, I always find these spray bottles really useful. I use them for spraying on oil washes to larger terrain builds, and also watered down PVA glue to help terrain bits stick on. Now onto some storage solutions. IKEA has a ton I could add into this category, so I'll just stick to some of my favourites. First up, we have these magazine files. I use these to organise my D&D books and Warhammer magazines. They are cheap and keep things neat, but also are flat packed, so they're easy to store if not in use. There are a range of smaller boxes that you can fit into drawers. Some come with lids, which I like to use for smaller items, and then the ones with an open top I use in drawers that I need easy access to but use often. If you don't have any drawers, then solutions like this with built-in drawers are really great for easy access to your hobby items. I also find it useful having a bin nearby for scraps, so I picked one of these cheap ones up. Pegboards are always a great way to save space. You can hang stuff up at eye level and see what you've got and use often. They come with tons of different attachments and are really customizable. Drawers like this are great to give you more space on your desk and help to keep things organised. For a cheaper option, you can use this chopping board. I use one of these myself for more space on top of my cabinet. These kitchen utensil tray inserts are also great for keeping bits organised inside a drawer. IKEA do a good range of these trolleys on wheels, which I find really convenient for under a desk. You can choose to add lids and stuff to them too. Little jars like this are great for making your own custom oil washes or for keeping leftover bits of grass flock and other terrain materials. Shelves like this can be useful to move stuff off of your desk and onto the walls. I use them for storing my base sprays and other hobby items that I reach for often. These clear boxes are always great for storing armies and miniatures. You can add a magnetic sheet to the base to stop your miniatures sliding around, and they also stack nicely, which is convenient. Being clear, it makes it easy to see what's inside without opening all the boxes also. If you want some fancier storage options for items that are on display, I use these baskets which look more aesthetic for holding my retro games. These cereal boxes are great for holding hobby materials like bark, sand and other basing bits, and for a cheaper option you can also just use plastic sandwich bags. And finally, in the storage section, if you have ever been tempted to make your own wet palette, little cheap plastic boxes like this are great for that, and you can also use them for mixing things like sculptor mold and other messy materials. And my final category, the crafting materials. There's a huge selection of artificial flowers. You can cut these up and use them for plants and terrain. I made a video about how I use plastic aquarium plants to achieve something similar. There are also a lot of plastic plants that can be used for the same effect. Potpourri can also make interesting terrain bits. There is a range of materials inside the pack, including bits of bark, which is great for basing. Cork is also great for basing. You can cut it up and break it to any size, and for larger projects there are these thicker cork mats also. Sponges are always useful. You can grate them to make flock or cut them up to make texture sponges for rust effects. Shower scrunchies are also great for creating interesting patterns. You can spray through the material to make scale-like shapes. If you want to make any project with wax, such as purity seals, you can always melt the wax down from larger candles they have. And if you want a base mat or structure to use for buildings, these bendy textured chopping boards are good, or for something more flexible, you can use these drawer protectors and cut to any size. And that's it. I hope you found something useful here. Let me know below any of your IKEA hobby hacks in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.